Welcome in. Happy Monday, gloomy Monday, Memorial Stadium, more ways than one, I guess. Sipple, Parker, Lincoln Journal-Star, HuskerExtra.com. Kind of gray. It's a gray day.
It's not that gloomy.
It's not that gloomy.
No.
It's not that gloomy. In fact, we heard from Scott Frost and a bunch of players today. Nebraska obviously lost to Purdue on Saturday. They're getting ready for Ohio State University. You might have heard of them. Saturday, 11 a.m. right here at Memorial Stadium. We're going to start with the 2-minute drill today because it gives us a little room to talk about probably the most interesting part of what was a really interesting day and a lot of interesting comments today. Scott Frost sort of asked directly about his job status and how do you work in that environment. And Scott said a lot. He said it's hard not to hear it. He and his staff are giving everything they've got. The players are giving it back to him. And then there was an interesting exchange where, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but Scott said, I don't want to overstep, but I'm excited about the end of this year and I'm excited about next year. They got to add some pieces, but he's excited about it. He said, I hope we get it. I think we should.
Yeah. And then he was subsequently asked what it meant.
Yeah,
and he said wins.
Wins.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting conversation. Here's what you got to remember. October 9th, right here, Nebraska played Michigan really close, and I think there was a lot of feeling that they did have it going in the right direction. But as you mentioned on Saturday night, the conversation swung really fast and hard in the last two games.
Yeah.
Losses to Minnesota and Purdue. So then you just have to assess that, if you're a Nebraska fan, or I guess if you're Trev Alberts. So I don't know if Frost knows something. The last part of that comment suggests maybe he doesn't.
Right. The first part of it didn't exactly sound like he did, but when he said, I don't want to overstep, but I'm excited about the end of this year and about next year, that's I don't know, you assume, everyone goes to work assuming they have a job until they don't, obviously.
Right.
But then, the second part of it, I hope we do, or hope we get it, that sounded less certain, obviously.
Yeah, and the question was how it was basically, again, paraphrasing, how much longer before it gets rolling? How much longer before you get this right? It was like that.
Yeah.
So, it's very illuminating. Frost, I would say, just mood-wise, he projects a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
I don't like to read that stuff too much. You don't want to read into it too much because he's supposed to.
Right.
But he doesn't have the look to me, he doesn't have the look of a beaten coach, or at least he didn't today.
No, and it's interesting because of the way they've just lost games in so many different ways this year. And he said over and over again today, it's just about turnovers against Purdue. He hadn't really been turnover prone this year, then he turned the ball over 4 times, and it's sort of this continuation of they've just found new ways to lose close games over the course.
Yeah, you plug one hole and another one opens up, and let's face it, that's sort of the hallmark of a mediocre program.
Right.
Mediocre team, and I'm not suggesting they're mediocre, but there's some evidence. Well, one serious piece of evidence is they're 3-6.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, so that's is very interesting on that front today. Scott he didn't shut the conversation down. He understands that it is part of the conversation. He said it's hard not to hear that at this point in things. One other interesting note, he did say that Trev Alberts obviously wasn't at the game. He was at his son's wedding. And Frost said they did have a chance to talk on Sunday after the game, as they have so far. So,
hey, Parker, there's one thing that you can say. He doesn't know you know for sure that based on what he said, we know that they haven't decided to move on.
Right.
And if they have, he doesn't know it.
Yeah. There you go. That's a 2-minute drill for today. Check HuskerExtra.com, journalstar.com/Huskers later for the 4 most interesting things besides that conversation we heard today. Thanks for watching.